give us a rundown of some of the placements you've gotten.
I've sang on the Going to Disneyland commercial for the Super Bowl. Love is Blind, the newest season. A lot of Netflix shows. The more you're out there, putting yourself out there, the more likely you are to connect with the right person to put you on the right thing. I don't want to sound like an asshole, but like I've been to which means I'm about to sound like an asshole. We have to protect our energy, protect our creativity, look up the things that you like. And then also, if you know you want to get into sing, go to events that are specifically for that. I just freaked out. I was really afraid to be the front person.
That is so wild to me because, like I said, I feel like you're so good. So to know that that was like a thing for you where you were afraid to do it, but it's real though. That's a real thing. I feel like a lot of us are, we get in our own head and we get afraid of doing things, and maybe we don't realize our real power. This is They're Good at That Shit, where I talk to artists who are killing it, certain aspects of the game, pick their brain, and hopefully we can all learn from each other. Joining me today is somebody who is killing it in the sync game, is also an amazing performer, BodaciousThang. What's going on?
Hello. I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate you.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, absolutely. All right, so let's talk about the sync thing, because the goal for a lot of us is to have the music fund our lives, and for us to be able to live off the music, and sync is one of those avenues and one of those ways, and a lot of people are trying to figure out how to break into it, but it's not an easy thing to break into. First of all, just give us a rundown of some of the placements you've gotten.
So, some of the placements I've gotten, I've sang on the Going to Disneyland commercial for the Super Bowl in 2023. So that was really cool. Uh, that was fun, and also because I lived in Kansas City before I moved to LA, so Chiefs, let's go. And then I don't watch sports at all, but yeah,
Hey,
no,
you can have the pride. It's all good. The hometown pride. It's cool. Yeah,
I'm happy. I'm happy for
yeah,
them.
for sure.
But
You even got
now
the colors on right now. Is that an accident or?
it was that happy accident.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, cool.
Yeah. And yeah, so that and Love is Blind, the newest season, Selling Sunsets, um, Buying London, which is a newer show, some things on that. So yeah, a lot of Netflix shows, and yeah, that's a short list, but a
Yeah,
list.
you had some like commercials too. Like, did I see something about like a Pizza Hut commercial maybe?
That's my first national commercial. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
really
amazing.
excited about that.
Yeah, that's dope.
Thank
So all right, what were you about to say?
Go ahead.
Oh, so for those of us that are trying to like figure out how to navigate the sync space, maybe wanting to break into sync land, any tips, any wise words that you can give us of how to do that?
Yes. So I will start off by saying, the first project that I was presented for a sync project was March 2020. So right when lockdown, COVID, all this stuff was like everybody was finding out it's going down. Shit's going down right now.
Mhm.
That's when I got my first call to do a sync project, and I was really like out of sorts, like most people were during that time.
Right, right.
So I actually didn't. I was really scatterbrained about it, but they asked me, and I was like, I don't know if I don't know. And I was like freaking out. And then they came back. A friend of mine had recommended me. Uh, and they were like, hey, are you still interested in this project? Because I had kind of left them, like I said, so much was going on. So they came back, was like, hey, we want you to do this. We think you'd be great. And they wanted me to do a Lizzo slash Big Frida type album for reality TV shows, things like that. And I got my mind together and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. So that's how it started. Like I was in a band before that had syncs, but as far as doing it solely with myself and not with the band, that's how it happened. So my first tip, I guess, is to communicate, connect, meet people, because the person that recommended me, I had no idea that that was in fruition, that was gonna happen. Like it wasn't, I was just, it was just a connection that worked out. And so stay connected. And then secondly, just always be writing, always, like, just keep yourself sharp, keep performing. If you perform live, I notice a lot of people that do sing don't necessarily perform live, so that doesn't necessarily go hand in hand. But if you're writing, the more songs you have, the more it's just like real estate in music.
Mhm.
You know, you can give that to sync, you could sell it to another artist, you could use it for yourself. So there's a lot of things you can do. So as long as you're writing and making new material, collaborating with people, that sets you up for people to one find you if they do want to see you, if they do want to use you for a sync project. The more you're out there, putting yourself out there, the more likely you are to connect with the right person to put you on the right thing, and la di da di da.
Very good.
Those are my tips.
Okay. You mentioned something that I was actually going to talk to you about later, as like kind of a separate thing, but you kind of mentioned it now, so we can kind of talk about it now too. But I feel like a lot of people tell me that I'm everywhere, and I feel like you're one of those people that's everywhere too. And
Yeah.
you make the rounds, you get around, and I feel like people underestimate a lot of times the value of just being outside. And
Hmm.
I feel like you just hit on something like right now as you're talking about how the sync thing happened. It was just from a connection, just somebody you know happened to meet or whatever. So you know, I think just being outside sometimes is just important. Like, and I feel like a lot of people don't necessarily realize that.
Yeah, I think being outside is important, but it's also building on that relationship too. So the person that recommended me, shout out to Martina,
Mhm.
uh, she recommended me, but we were connected through another, like a mutual friend of ours. Uh, and so it kind of like over the years we knew of each other, and then I came to a job fair and she was a it was like a music job fair mentorship kind of thing,
Right.
and she was one of the mentors. And so I seen that she was there and I was like, oh, I want to see Martina, what's going on with her, what's going. And so we reconnected there and like got to sit and talk and like, and then yeah, it's like putting yourself, being outside, but being outside in the right spaces.
Mm.
Because I think you can go to all these, I don't want to sound like an asshole, but like I've been to like, which means I'm about to sound like an asshole,
No,
but
they wouldn't.
um, well, maybe not. But like I've gone to jams and all these different, like a lot of jams, and I love jams. I love to listen to the music, see what people, just meet new people, and for that matter. But I can't say that I've, at least me personally, as a vocalist, going to jams is hasn't necessarily given back anything,
Mm.
at least financially, to
Hmm.
me.
Okay.
not the way that going to things like, I feel like singer songwriter nights, things like that, cater more to singers and songwriters and collaboration and things like that. Whereas like the LA jam scene with like the soul fusion jazzy type stuff, which I love to listen to and be around. But when it comes to actually getting called for gigs, when I look back at my 15 years of being in Los Angeles,
Mm.
that's not it's not really tracking as far as things that's actually helped me get more work.
Yeah.
And maybe, things, your name is thrown around, so it's nice. I still go to those jams, but I used to go like 3, 4 times a week.
Mm.
And I've dialed that back
Okay.
because we have to protect our energy, protect our creativity, and just what's analyze what's actually happening, you
Right.
know?
What's working, what's not,
Yeah.
what's valuable uses of your time and what's not, et cetera.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's not an asshole thing, but just like it's just something, at least for me, I know being everywhere isn't necessarily the most efficient.
Sure.
Um and that's something that I feel like recently learned, at least for myself.
Got you.
Yeah. But I
Um,
still like to go out, you know?
right. Are there other things that you mentioned singer-songwriter nights? Are there other things that you found useful in terms of attending any, I don't know, workshops or any like other groups or meetings or anything like that that you've maybe found useful, just in terms of connecting, collaborating, whether it's specifically to sync or maybe not. Just any where else would you say, was good to go to or, attend or whatever?
Okay, I'm trying to see how to what I'm thinking, or how to make sure that I'm saying things clear. So I was gonna when you were saying that, I was thinking like, yeah, what would those places be? And I think for me, I try to go to things that that are interesting to me,
Mhm.
not just because it's like maybe I should be at that thing. That's because that's where the cool people go, or I should do this because that's what people told me to do. It's like I go through Eventbrite and just look at what's going on, and if something sparks my interest, I'll go to that. Like, what did I go to? I went to a class at Ion Academy. I think that's how you say it.
Yeah.
Um, and it's in Hollywood, but they were doing a sync workshop, and so I went to that, and it was pretty beginner, just talking about the basics of sync licensing. What is that? Things like that. But it was a room packed full of people I had never met,
Mhm.
and so it was like going to things like that and like searching for things that you're interested in. Also, I found like going to parties is great too, but like going, like I said, parties that you're interested in. Like I love to dance. I love to have a good time and it's like be free, not necessarily like drinking or doing
Sure.
drugs. If that's your thing, that's your thing, but that's not necessarily my thing. But so point, like uh I met one of my close friends at a party that went till 5 a.m. and it was like dancing, Afrobeat music, just all these good vibes. And we just met at this party, no intentions of working together, but then we ended up working together on music and things like that. And so my point is look up the things that you like. And then also, if you know you want to get into sync, go to events that are specifically for that. Um, Also, yeah, like support your friends, because at the end of the day, those are the people that are going to that you're gonna collaborate with. You're gonna end up you want to work with your friends. I know I do. And so support their events. That's kind of my thing. I hope I'm not too long winded. I'm just like,
No, all good. No, absolutely not. No, I'm definitely with you on that one. I'm kind of the same way where I like to pull up and support people when I can.
mm-hmm.
Um, because I mean, number one, I just think it's good to do, just to support, what people are doing. But also I feel like how you show up for other people, um, that's how people will show up for you or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, and like I said, that's not everything. Like I don't expect, everybody that, I go to their show, I don't expect them to come to mine or whatever, you know what I mean? But if I go to your show, it's because I just wanted to support you, you know what I'm saying? I just wanted to, say what's up and like say I see you doing your thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely good to do. All right. So I feel like you are definitely in the upper echelon of performers in LA of people I've seen, like 1000%. Um, is is that something that which is always like just came natural to you, or is it something that you like more so developed?
I definitely developed singing live, but I started at a very young age. I started performing when I was 4 at church, and it just grew from there. But I it was it's the only thing I've ever wanted to do. The only thing I've ever wanted to do. Yes. Uh and I've tried to ignore it and do other jobs because I was afraid of, I don't know, but I was afraid to be the front person. I mean, for a long time, my goal was to be the background singer, and that's it. And I was just like, yeah, I was totally fine with that. At least that's what I told myself.
Mhm.
So it's been a lot of it's been a journey, back and forth. A lot of self loving that I've had to do. Uh, yeah, because for a long time I didn't write my own music for like 7 years.
Wow.
Like because I just freaked out. I was really afraid to be the front person,
Huh.
uh, and
That is
so
that is so wild to me because, like I said, I feel like you're so good. So to know that that was like a thing for you where you were afraid to do it, but it's real though. That's a real thing. I feel like a lot of us are, we get in our own head and we get afraid of doing things, and maybe we don't realize our real power and our real talent, because like I said, you're like one of the best performers I've seen. So it's like it's on the one hand, it's like it's crazy to me that you ever thought that because you're so good, but then it also is like that's just a real thing. It's like that's something that everybody, if you deal with that, then like I know there's something like everybody, deals with it. You know what I mean?
yeah, it I think, being out here so young. Like I moved to Hollywood when I was 18, and I had never lived on my own and been away from my family. And I was just like, what the hell am I doing? What the fuck is going on? Like, why did I do this to myself? Like, like I was like, it was not what I saw in the movies. It was
Right. Right.
completely different coming out here by myself, and just like coming to realization that, okay, this is very different. And now I have, now what is it, what am I gonna do? Because the only thing I knew was I want to sing. That's it. Like, no plans other than going to MI. So it was just a lot of insecurity, a lot of imposter syndrome feelings. um But now it's like, well, if I'm an imposter at this point, I'm a damn good actress. So
No, that's right.
let's just keep it going. And I love it. I love it. At the end of the day, it's my passion, and this is like I love it. And people like you encourage me and inspire me to keep it pushing. So yeah, it's it's been a journey though. It's not been easy, and it's still not.
Mhm.
I had a friend say, "How did it feel to make money doing music?" And while that may be true, it's still I'm not rich or close to that at all. Like
Right, right.
we getting there. We going. We
Mhm. Mhm.
manifestations is up and
Mhm.
the
Um,
millions are coming. But yeah, it's just not there, and it takes time. And I think that's something what people don't understand about sync too. Is like, yeah, I got this show, I got this show, blah blah blah. But I may not see that check for a year or
mm,
more. It
right.
depends on what the deal is. Who it's with. It takes a while, and then even with royalties take years
Mm,
before you really start being able to live off of them. At least that's been my experience. And I think it was different before, but with streaming and the music industry, the way it's changed, and it is a long haul game. Uh, no matter which way you go with it, whether you're doing sync, whether you playing live, unless you already got, some money somewhere,
mhm,
you
mhm.
know. And even then I think it's still hard. So if you just coming up out of the dirt,
Yeah.
just get ready.
Yeah, no, I always say, like, I feel like there's a lot of people who come to LA and they think like, okay, I'm gonna drop this song on Spotify. It's gonna be fire. Everybody's gonna love it, and I'm gonna blow up. And like that's, I feel like what everybody thinks is just gonna happen. And that's great if that happens for you, but chances are that's not the way it's gonna go.
Yeah.
So you definitely hit on something that I feel like is important for anybody trying to pursue music is that you need to like know in your head ahead of time, like I'm in this for the long haul. Because if you're not, then it's like you might as well not even like you might as well not even waste your time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, you gotta, especially depending on, I think race plays a role. I think where you, like, if you're poor, like I said, if you ain't got no money versus somebody that's rich, your persona is like all these things come together, and you have to know where you fit in this. I don't want to say box, but the industry wants to put you in the box. I think that's also, it's hard, like, that's a hard thing for me because, like, oh, you're R&B, but I'm like, no. I mean, I can do that, and I love R&B. I ain't got no problems. I love R&B. I listen to R&B. I write R&B. I love it. But I also love rock. I also love alternative. I also love weird, just weird shit. I
Mhm.
also like Yo-Yo Ma. It's like,
Right.
but because of what I look like, it's like R&B, yay. It's like, okay, so you have to, and then there's whatever, I know my experience, others people have they stereotypes or whatever they have to deal with. So also realizing that, because you want to come here thinking, oh, I can, be whatever, do whatever. And it's like, especially as a creative. But when you start getting into, the politics of things, you gotta understand that that can be mentally draining too. And then knowing how to navigate that type of thing.
Sure. I think that's part of the reason I honestly, put myself in spaces where I may not, where people that look like me don't normally hang out, because just to kind of push, some of those stereotypes and, like push some of those boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And with my music too, I push, with a little like, some country, maybe you might get some country flavor, and I've, worked with, some country artists that, on some of my songs. So like, I think that's part of the reason that, I do that, to kind of
And
push some of those uh expectations of what other people, have on me or might put on me, you know.
yeah, and I
Um,
think it's important to do that. If that's like I can like other things and do other things too, and not
mhm, mhm,
only like because yeah, I want to show you. At least for me, it's like I grew up in the South. I like country music too. Like that. I like blues. I like gospel. I mean blues, gospel, they really country. They all really go together, but they have these images depending on what word you use.
mhm.
And it's like really all this. We know where all this stuff come from, so I ain't got to go there. But um, so anyway, yeah, I think it's important to do that. Push the boundaries, shake up these stereotypes, you know.
Absolutely. Um, One more thing, kind of on something we were talking about, like in terms of like performing, and like I said, I feel like you're like super good at it, and I feel like a lot of artists don't necessarily, um like I feel like our job as performers is to move the audience in some way, shape, or form, and whether that's, getting them to, participate and, like, nod their head and, clap along, and, or whether it's, you're just like a beast on your instrument. And so everybody's like vibing out, or whether, like whatever it is. And some people, maybe they have very like emotional songs and lyrics, and you can feel it, like it, like you're like, oh yeah, I felt that one. So like I feel like whatever it is, I feel like you need to like figure out what that is for you, and how can you best move the audience in some way. So I guess I just want to get your like thoughts on that, or how do you like approach performing, or how do you look at it?
Yeah, I mean, it has to come from a real place. It has to come from your story. It has to come, yeah, it has to come from your experience in life. And I think when you write or even if you're not writing the song, even when you're doing a cover, when you do a cover of a song, like do it with your own flavor. Your like how does this song make you feel? Why are you doing this cover? If you're just doing it because it's popular, which I know people do that, but especially when you're performing live, it's like if you want to move people, if we're talking about moving people, it has to be more than just because it's popular. It's
Mhm.
popular and I relate to this story as well. Like I feel like when you put those together, that's when you can get a real emotive performance. And I think the way you find that is just through practicing, one, just watching people that you like. Like growing up, I always watched Whitney Houston. I watched her a lot, and Michael Jackson a lot. Like crazy, obsessive. Like in Christina Aguilera. Um, like those are the people I was like that made me feel, and I was like, also growing up in the church, I think that's a big part of it. Is because when you are giving your all to this entity, uh, not for money, not for fame, just because you're honoring God. Um, it's very selfless. It's
Mhm. Mhm.
genuine.
Yeah.
It's just about giving to to God, to the universe. And I think there's a lot of healing in that, no matter what you believe. when you're coming from a place like that where I'm doing this, I'm doing this to express, I'm doing this to tell a story, I'm doing this because I think this could help somebody else. When you come from that space, I think you can't help but feel something from that artist. So,
Amen. I couldn't have said it better myself. BodaciousThang, thank
yeah,
you so much.
thank you.
I appreciate you popping on, sharing your words of wisdom, your nuggets. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you too. Thank you, Broadway B.
Hey, any final gems for the people?
I'm glad to be here. Follow me on Instagram at BodaciousThang. You ain't following Broadway B, you know what it is. And yeah, I'm just grateful. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate you. All right, have a good one.
You too.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Broadway, the host. If you got something out of the episode, definitely go ahead and hit the like button. Also, subscribe and turn on the notifications so you can get notified whenever we drop new episodes. If there was something specific that you learned or found interesting, put that in the comments. Also, if there was something that you thought you were going to learn more about, wanted to hear more about, and you didn't, put that in the comments as well. We can use that to make these episodes better going forward. Thank you again for checking out. They're good at that shit.